Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding program for you this evening. Mrs. Cynthia Vargas, she's the Communications Manager for the Lake County State's Attorney's Office in WAUKEGAN, Illinois. She is a person that you should know. We're going to be talking about the Latino Coalition here in Lake County. Greetings, Cynthia.
Greetings, Dr. Waddell Brooks.
We're very happy that you've literally taken time from your busy schedule to be with us on the Community Forum to let Lake County know all there is to know about the Communications Manager in the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. Now, Lake County is approximately, 750,000 people that you're responsible for, and so this is a great opportunity for them to meet you and learn all about what you do.
That's correct.
First of all, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Well, Dr. Brooks, thank you for having me here tonight. It's really quite a pleasure to be here tonight and to speak to your audience tonight. So thank you for having me first and foremost.
Okay.
My name is Cynthia Vargas, and I was born and raised in Waukegan. Graduated from Waukegan High School in 2002. So I'm a proud graduate of Waukegan High School, and proud to be part of this community as well. Graduated from the University of Wisconsin Parkside in 2006 with a criminal justice degree. And then from there, I got hired on by Catholic Charities. I worked for them for a few years and then was hired on by State's Attorney Michael Nierheim in 2012, right after his election.
Well, tell us, what piqued your interest to get involved with the criminal justice system as a major in college?
Well, growing up, I saw a lot of dismay, a lot of disarray in our community. A lot of my peers, including myself, there was a lot of trouble, there was a lot of drugs, there's a lot of crime around me. And it was my desire, it was my dream not to be one more statistic, not to be counted as one more as part of the percentage in terms of having to serve time in prison, or to be one more pregnant Latina dropping out of school to be able to raise a child, or dropping out of school to have to serve time due to making wrong choices or due to having to survive. So I made it a point to be able to set a goal and reach that goal, to go to college and be able to succeed in life. And so part of that dream was also to make a difference for those who were struggling in my community with crime issues and with poverty and with all of the adversities that at that point we were confronted with as youth and as minority groups. And I thought that the only way that we could make a difference is by obviously being a part of the system that I felt that was touching our lives the most, and that was the criminal justice system at that point. And I felt that being part of the criminal justice system and understanding how that worked, I was going to make a greater difference in the community.
Tell us why is there so much crime in the Latino community?
I don't think there's, I'm not, in terms of the statistics, I don't know what the statistics are at this point in terms of crime with the Latino community here locally. However, I think that a lot of the crime that does happen, although there are people that do deserve to be in prison, there are also people that are either addicted to drugs or that live in a cycle of survival mode, and there are no justification for crimes. However, I think that there is a chance for change. People do need second chances. Sometimes people need first chances. And so I feel that as community leaders, we have that opportunity to help people make that change and set that example and build that path for an individual to be able to guide them into setting themselves up for good life skills, for goals, and for understanding how to live a life that will lead them to a self-sufficient path, to a career, or to a job that is going to eventually break the cycle of poverty and break the cycle of crime.
Well, I think we might as well fast forward this then and talk about the Latino Coalition. this is a coalition that maybe Lake County residents have not heard about it, but tell us about it.
Right. So the Latino Coalition was founded 23 years ago by, a group of Latina powerful women, and we continue their legacy today. And the Latino Coalition focuses on a few things. One of our major initiatives is education and higher education for Latino students. Mm-hmm. And we do a number of fundraising events throughout the year, as well as networking meetings every month. And through these meetings and through the fundraising events, we raise funds in order to be able to award students every year with a scholarship to seek higher education, for students to seek higher education. And we have a set scoring sheet that we go by in order to be able to award students across Lake County of Latino descent in order for them to seek higher education. We want to empower our youth. We want to help them understand that they have the capability of being a voice for the voiceless. They have the capability of being our decision makers in the future. And that's essentially that's part of our mission. Another part of our mission is to obviously fight the good fight. And, with that being said, social justice issues, with the situation regarding the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, partnering and building networks that are gonna help us connect with our local legislators to help them understand that this is an important factor in our youth's lives that are going to help them succeed. That this is something that we need to have to continue, that needs to continue for our youth. That cannot be taken away, that cannot be canceled, that we need a solution in the United States in regards to immigration laws, that immigration is a broken system in the United States. That's another of our mission, is assisting the community in the areas in which we feel that there is a need, and helping the most vulnerable, and being, again, a voice for the voiceless is basically our mission. And obviously through continuing education for our community and through our networking meetings, bringing our leaders together and bringing in speakers to educate our leaders on the resources throughout the community in order for them to network and be able to be a bigger force for our community and our Black and brown community.
I assume that you're a charter member?
I am not a charter member.
I know you used to mention about a group of women, but in other words, the group determined that they couldn't do it by themselves. They needed a coalition.
Right.
Why is a coalition needed?
A coalition is needed because in order to make a greater impact, you need to come together. We need to be one. When you have different silos set up in different areas, you're kind of reinventing the wheel. I think that once you come together as a community to address the same issue, you make a greater impact and your voice becomes louder. You set the same goals, you fight for the same beliefs, and therefore your impact becomes greater. And I feel that a coalition has the power to make that difference.
I was just looking over, and if any one of our listening audience want to check out the coalition, they can go into the website.
Yes.
And boy, they'll find out that about the organizational membership. You have just tons of organizations that are members here, and I couldn't name them all. I'd like for our listening viewing audience to go to the website and take a look.
Right.
And gee whiz, about every organization in Lake County, belong.
Right. The positive thing about the Latino Coalition is that we are very blessed to be supported by so many people and so many organizations and so many elected officials and dignitaries across Lake County.
Okay.
It's something that I take pride on, and I respect our supporters so much for, because that's what makes us successful, is our membership. And we have everyone from the non-for-profit sector all the way to the business sector supporting us. We have hospitals coming on board here more recently. our major advocates are going to come on board and become members in terms of healthcare. And so that's going to give us an opportunity to begin education on healthcare for our Black and brown communities, and obviously to start talking about all of the healthcare issues that are affecting our communities and how to live longer, and so many different things that I think that we obviously as leaders have the responsibility to talk about in our communities.
Now, it's more needed in the Black and brown community than any other communities because of the lack of information that's been promulgated to the people, right?
That's correct. I mean, I think, with our Black and brown communities, I think that we have so many issues. I was saying, and I think that we have so many issues that are so similar to one another. I think one of the major differences is that, is the language, is that we speak Spanish, and I think a lot of our brown community, our Black community obviously is learning some Spanish as well. So, that's not even going to be a barrier pretty soon. But but I think that's honestly one of the major differences that separates us. But I think that, again, once we become united, and I don't mean to separate any race, because I feel that we are all one human race. That is my strong belief, is that when it comes to it, we all need to come together as one human race. I feel that history is being relived, and I think that we are in 2017, and it's not necessary that we need to relive history. I think that we are at a point where we have enough reasoning and understanding that we should have learned already from the past, and we should not be reliving what is occurring in our country nationwide today. And so, I'm a very big advocate for unity of all races, of all colors, of all ethnicities, of all genders, and the Latino Coalition really, really is a fighter for those kind of issues and beliefs, and that is why I chose to be the president of the Latino Coalition, because we strive to give a voice for what is right.
As a matter of fact, the United States is a nation of all immigrants, right?
Right. I agree. We all came here one way or another.
Except the Indians.
Except our Native Americans.
Native Americans, would say. Those are the only ones. And you, excuse me, and you do have a group called Mano. And
we have Mano a Mano. Megan McKenna is the executive director, and they're actually giving free DACA services, deferred action for childhood arrivals, for those who need to apply before October 5th, which is the deadline that has been given to apply for this benefit before the expiration dates.
Oh, okay.
For the work permits that are given.
I use the term that we may have come over here on different ships, but we're in the same boat together now.
Yes, we are. We all are.
So we can use that, yeah. But also you have a great group to explain the legal rights of people too. They may not know what their legal rights are.
We do. So, we have Mano a Mano. They're accredited by the Board of Immigration Appeals under the Department of Justice. We have ACES. And ACES, Maria Elena Jonas is actually one of the co-founders. She is the co-founder of the Latino Coalition, and she now is the executive director of ACES, who are our partners and members as well. And so there are major proponents of immigration issues on the Latino Coalition. And then we have the Father Gary Graff Immigrant Center, who does not necessarily provide immigration services, but advocates for immigration issues, and does a lot of ESL classes, a lot of English classes, are ESL classes, citizenship classes for those who are seeking to obtain citizenship here in the United States.
Your meetings, you mentioned, they're held monthly? Or?
They're held monthly, every second Thursday of the month at noon.
And everyone's invited to
And everyone's invited. at the Waukegan Public Library.
Oh, okay.
And there is lunch provided with a suggested donation of $7. You don't have to give the donation to eat, but we do provide lunch, so you don't go without eating at the meeting. And we always have a guest speaker that our guests and members get to hear from and learn from every month.
Okay, okay. This is fantastic. You know, I fast forwarded to Coalition, but let's talk about the, and you were born in Waukegan.
I was born in Waukegan.
But your ancestors are Mexico?
Yes.
And then can you give us a little bit of background of Mexico? Why would anyone want to travel to Mexico?
Mexico is a beautiful country. There's so much landscape. There's amazing history there. There's, amazing tourist spots.
Okay.
My parents were born and raised in a state called Michoacan. They immigrated from Michoacan into the United States, obviously because of poverty. But I think that if they would have had the choice to stay, they would have stayed. But Michoacan, there's so much to offer in terms of agriculture. There's so much to offer in terms of commerce. There's so much to offer. The only things that are lacking are the resources in order to make your businesses grow there. But in terms of Mexico, you have areas like Puerto Vallarta, you have areas like Cancun, you have areas like Cabo San Lucas. You have, in our state, you have Janitzio. You have so many different landscape and so much amazing history to learn from in Mexico, and that's what makes Mexico beautiful, is the culture, its history, and its landscape. It's just amazing and breathtaking.
I noticed I use the pronunciation Mexico, but I noticed you use Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, I served in Korea for 16 months, and the Koreans would say, GI with GIs that are speaky Korean and Korean speaky Korean, no same.
No same.
So by the way, in speaking, you mentioned about the language and so forth, but we find that now it's very important for a person to be bilingual now, because actually, in order to be employed now, the employer will say you don't have to know Spanish, but it's very
preferred.
Preferred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dual language is very important nowadays in our country, as we can probably a lot of us pick up on. I don't think only in Spanish. I think in many other languages, it's very helpful, and this is something that is part of the education piece. In terms of the Latino Coalition, is to explore different areas of the education realm, because you never know where these opportunities may take you in terms of having the knowledge and the skills and the skill set, to be able to exercise all these skills. And you don't know where that's going to take you, what opportunities this is going to open up for you in the future in terms of success. A lot of us, when we succeed, we come from nothing. I came from nothing. My parents, when they immigrated to this country, had $0. They had to come up from nothing. And so, I came from a very humble family. I'm not saying that I'm rich, because I'm not, but I live a comfortable life now, thanks to the blessings that I have received, and thanks to my parents who always pushed me to succeed, and thanks to the goals that I have accomplished. And thanks to State's Attorney Nierheim, who believed in me and who has mentored me throughout this piece of my career.
As a matter of fact, you were the first person that he hired when he took his office. Right?
Yes, he was the first person that he hired. I was the first person he hired. And through, as soon as he hired me, I had to learn a lot, within the office. It was my first time working directly in a law enforcement capacity. And, I learned a lot while working for State's Attorney Nierheim, and I continue to learn a lot while working for him. And he's a great mentor. He's a great person to work for. And, I have gotten to where I'm at thanks to his leadership and thanks to the examples he sets as a leader within our office. And so either, if I had to send a message to our youth is, don't lose faith. There's going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be tears that are going to be shed, throughout the way, throughout the journey. There's going to be times where you want to look back and say, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need to stay where I came from. But you got to keep going. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep fighting the good fight for yourself. And there's going to be somebody that's going to see that potential in you, in your heart and in your eyes, and that is going to believe, and that's going to give you that opportunity to be able to, for you to be able to exercise those skills and talents, even when you have that dual language, even when you have whatever you have studied, whatever you have paid astronomical amounts for in terms of education, it's going to end up paying off. So if I had to send a message to our youth is keep going. Someone is going to see the light in your heart, and they're going to believe in you, and they're going to push you to succeed. And it happened to me, and I can attest to it. And thanks to State's Attorney Nierheim, I have met so many important people, and I was able to learn so much from all of the important people and see and meet so many good hearts, and it's just been an amazing ride.
We talked about that before the show, that when an opportunity presents itself, if you don't take advantage of it, it may not come again. It may not come
again, and I was shaking in my boots, when I started at the State's Attorney's office, being a Latina, a young Latina, coming in as a communications manager, it is intimidating. It's an intimidating position because you never ever envision yourself as a minority being in such a position, an important position. At that point, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. And then everyone started telling me, Cynthia, the magnitude of your position is enormous. And I started to realize that once I sat down in that chair and I started to get quoted in the newspapers and on TV, and I was like, whoa, this is major. And I knew that I had taken on an amazing opportunity at that point.
Tell us about the communications manager. Are you a spokesman for the State's Attorney, or what is your role?
That's the thing. The State's Attorney and the county themselves have my official title is Communications Manager, Communications Specialist for the State's Attorney's Office. Okay. Under that is the media relations piece. We also work a ton with the community in terms of bridging the gap in terms of the needs that we see, anything that relates to coalition to reduce crime, anything that we're doing so many projects right now with so many different organizations to see where we can bridge the gaps and all of the needs where we need to reduce crime, where we need to help out. We have the Lake County Opioid Initiative, the Way Out program. We have so many programs where we're trying to bridge gaps to reduce crime and to reduce the recidivism in terms of the revolving door where people continue to visit the prison and the jail systems, and to reduce addiction. Once it is our hope that if we reduce the addiction, we'll reduce the crime in our community. And there's just so much in terms of working with those programs where you are seeing the change in the individuals. You meet the individuals that are being impacted by these programs, and you begin to see the impact that you're making on other people's lives, and I think that's the most rewarding piece of my job.
So you do work closely with the Coalition to Reduce Recidivism too, right?
We do. We work with Supervisor Patricia Jones, and we have been in the past. We had been working closely with them, and it is our pleasure to work with them. So we have worked with them in the past. To obviously meet, if there's anything that they may need from the State Attorney's office. We've spoken at their job fairs that they have, at their expungement fairs that they have. Our staff goes out and speaks. We'll volunteer for their events at times if they need us to go out there and volunteer. We'll sit at their luncheon meetings when they're coordinating their luncheon meetings.
Oh, yeah.
So wherever they need us in terms of bridging that gap, when if it's relevant to our office and we feel that we need to be there to bridge that gap, and I feel that it is part of my job in terms of being there and bridging that gap, we will be more than happy to help, because it is our job to impact the community and reducing and closing the gap.
I mentioned Coalition to Reduce Recidivism. We have in our prison system, we have more black and browns incarcerated than any other group. And I'm sure they're trying to find a way. And you mentioned about the different court systems that you have, the mental health court.
We have the mental health court, we have drug court, we have veterans court, we have the A Way Out program now, which is a pre-arrest diversion program that I'm sure State's Attorney Nierheim has talked about at your show. And the A Way Out program is, we had 7 police departments on board. We've brought 4 more on, where individuals can visit the police department if they feel that they need a way out from their addiction. They can bring their drug paraphernalia to the police department. They can drop the drug paraphernalia at the police department and say, I need treatment, I need help, I need a way out. And that police department, that police officer that is there can route the individual into treatment, and they will not be arrested. And we will route them into treatment either through Gateway or the health department, and then the process will begin from there. And so this is not affecting their record. Once somebody's record is affected criminally, it's hard for them to get a job, it's hard for them to get an apartment, it's hard for them to get any kind of credit services for any kind of furnishing for their apartment, who knows. So we're trying to find ways to reduce the impact on an individual so they can continue a self-sufficient life, and obviously set life skills in order for them to be able to obtain a permanent employment. There's things going on behind the scenes that we're not yet ready to announce that I'm very excited about, and it's not my place to announce yet, but there are ongoing projects behind the scenes that we're very excited to be working on with many partners throughout the county, and that we continue to work on, and we continue to analyze to try to find solutions to reduce the recidivism, at least in what is in our capability and within our means.
Because these individuals, if they're incarcerated, it's not going to improve their situation. They probably should not be imprisoned.
Right. There are some individuals that, in terms of mental health, should not be imprisoned. There are some individuals that, instead of being in prison, need treatment. And so what happens with the specialty courts is just that. They obviously obtain a wraparound service where they analyze this particular person's case, and they determine where the needs are for this individual, and they figure out if this individual, what kind of treatment this individual may need, and they try to look at the underlying issues in terms of why the individual continues to commit certain crimes, right? And then if the individual needs to be on a certain type of treatment, they'll be routed into that treatment and hopefully find a solution to their lives.
Does the Latino Coalition work with families that may be afraid to speak up against someone that may be incarcerated, that they may not have, they may, go back to Mexico, go back to, if they would speak up about the loved one,
If there's a deportation proceeding against somebody, and under my administration, there hasn't been an issue where we had a family come to us in regards to a loved one being deported and they're looking for some form of asylum per se. In the event that did happen, our partners would come in and help. Our partners such as Mano a Mano. We would probably reach out to the Immigration Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. We would probably reach out to our partners to be able to help, because our resources would be very limited in that point. We're not attorneys, we're not accredited by the Board of Immigration Appeals, we're not properly trained to be able to deal with such a circumstance. So we would reach out to our trained resources that are experts in those fields to be able to assist us in those matters.
What about the population of locally, say, Waukegan? Is it growing as far as brown population?
You know, I would say.
What is the population?
We're at 90,000. I think we're at between 80 and 90,000 in Waukegan. I know that a lot of people have moved north and west.
Okay.
So a lot of people are immigrating out of Waukegan. A lot of people are going into Pleasant Prairie and Kenosha, and then they're going into Palatine and the Round Lake areas. I know that our population went down a bit from 90 to 80,000, but we're hoping to see a change. You know, Waukegan has become a little bit more inclusive, and so we're hoping to see a change in the population numbers.
Well, what about the school population in Waukegan?
Well, the school population.
Is it somewhere near? Is that south 80%? Is that too high?
I don't. You know, I'm not aware of the statistics in terms of the school population in Waukegan. I know that it is a large Latino population. It is a large Black and Brown community in Waukegan. And I know that the new superintendent is attempting to do a fine job in revamping the entire school district. I believe that there is about 18,000 kids in the district, if I'm not mistaken. It might be erroneous, but there's 17,000 to 18,000 kids that she has to obviously make decisions for, and that is a very tough task on her. So kudos to her, and I'm sure that she is addressing the issues that need to be addressed, you know, as the days come. So, you know, if she ever needs assistance from the Latino Coalition, we have made her aware that she can reach out at any time.
Have you got her involved in the?
Yep, she is.
Actively?
She spoke 2 months ago. Actually, a month ago. She spoke last month to our membership. So she's very involved. And we just had our major fundraising event on Friday, our Noche de Gala, where we have our major fundraising event for our scholarship recipients every other year. And we just had it on Friday, and her and her staff attended, which we were very, very thankful for. And we were happy to see her there. So she's very involved with the Latino Coalition.
How do you advertise for your scholarships? And what's the criterion for students?
We work directly with the schools and the College of Lake County, Grays Lake, and Lakeshore campus. Dr. Al Baldwin is our membership director, and he works at the Lakeshore campus.
Okay.
And helps us out a lot at the College of Lake County with advertising the scholarship there. We have an education committee within our board. Our education director is Angie Hernandez, and she is in charge of putting the committee together and reviewing the scholarship applications and putting the scholarship application together every year up until her tenure is up. So the requirements are that they have really 2.5 GPA, that they are of Latino descent, they have to write an essay, and there are a few requirements, and they can look up those requirements on CLULC.org, which is our website. Our application is closed now, but it will reopen, and we will make that announcement. We make that announcement at our general membership meetings, on our website, on our Facebook page, and and we try to make the schools aware that the scholarship is now open. We work with the guidance counselors, and we obviously through email blasts and all kinds of good electronic stuff.
What about business growth among the Brown community? It seemed like we have a high percentage of growth.
Yes, well, there's a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of restaurants. You can't get enough Mexican food, right? Which is amazing to see. You have your variety of Mexican restaurants across Waukegan. So, and we just had the Casa de Samuel open up on what is that, Genesee Street. So business is booming and growing, and we just had another business open up on Washington Street in terms of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I think, is doing a good job with what they're trying to do out there. I know they're partnered with the Lake County Chamber. So, they're a different world, they're a different realm.
Right. Well, networking is very important.
It is.
Well, not only in the business realm here, but also with Latino Coalition.
Yes, it is. And we've always worked together with Unión Latina and Jose Rodriguez, my very beloved colleague. And him and I always agree on one thing, and it's always coming together. And, he owns his own business. He's a small business owner. And he also agrees that even though we're a non-for-profit and he's a small business owner, that we need to impact our youth educationally. And so it's very important that it doesn't matter who we are, we come together as one. So I agree, Dr. Brooks.
Being president of the coalition is a great responsibility, right? But
It's a huge responsibility.
Tell about your structure. Yeah.
So we are an all volunteer board. So we do not get paid for all of the work that we do.
Okay.
Right now I have, including myself, there's 8 board members.
Okay.
So it's myself, Cynthia Vargas. My vice president is Dulce Candy Ortiz. My treasurer is Kevin Boiso.
What, these are 1-year terms or 2-year terms?
It's 2-year terms.
2-year terms. Okay.
Yep. So we are 2-year terms. Kevin Boiso, our fundraiser director, is Krista Sanchez. We have Mark Jones, who's our public relations director.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Viramontes is our leadership director. And we have Dr. Al Baldwin as our membership director. And then we have, I'm missing one, and they're going to kill me.
Okay, once you start naming names.
Once I start naming names, that's the hard part. But there's 8 of us, and, and then we all come together, as one at the table, and sometimes we have to agree to disagree. And sometimes we agree on everything, but we are an amazing team, and we support one another each and every day. The Latino Coalition, it's a lot of work. It's an organization that's been around for 23 years, and as you can see, it's grown. It's grown to be a pretty big organization. We do a lot of advocacy work. At administrative level, it has to be sustained. So it's an ongoing job, and it never stops. And we are administered by our own bylaws, and it is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization.
It has really grown in the 23 years, so there has to be a passion for the work that you guys are doing, right?
There has to be a passion, especially when you're a volunteer running in an organization, right?
Yeah, right.
When you have a passion for something, the productivity just flourishes. Your productivity just grows. And so when you are passionate about something, your ideas flourish, your creativity flourishes. Things just come together. And if you don't have a passion for something, things are just not going to work out. And so that's when you know that you kind of got to take 2 steps back and reflect on what is going on. But if you have a passion for something, you work toward it, you fight for it, and you make things happen no matter what. You really don't look at the fact that you're not getting paid for all the hours that you're putting in, for the time that you're taking away from your family. Your family begins to understand what you're doing, and they're there with you throughout the way. So, having a passion for what you're doing is very important, especially at your job.
Tell us about the students that receive scholarships. Do you get feedback from them and about what they've been doing and the accomplishments that they've made as benefiting from they wouldn't have been where they are except for the assistance that you guys are giving them?
Right. So we had Carla Gutierrez spoke at our Latino Coalition's Noche de Gala, and she is now a master's degree graduate.
Wow.
And she's very successful. She's very involved with our community, and she feels that the Latino Coalition impacted her in a great way, and she continues to meet people through the Latino Coalition. When she networks at our meetings, she continues to attend our meetings, and she's actually become a part of the Latino Coalition. And so it's very great to see that she's actually really involved being a scholarship recipient. So it's great to see the students flourish even after they receive the scholarship from our organization.
You mentioned membership drives. You guys conduct membership drives annually or continually?
Well, our membership drives are conducted at our general membership meetings. We have, our members actually bring individuals that might be interested in an organization, and they actually learn about what we do at our meetings. And Dr. Baldwin has a spot on the agenda every month where he talks about how you could become a member. And our treasurer has access to his email on the spot, and if somebody wants to be invoiced on the spot, we can do an invoice on the spot and bill you. And you and you can pay for your membership on the spot. So yeah, it's pretty easy to become a member.
You talked about your latest events and accomplishments. You want to tell us about your latest accomplishments? Some of your accomplishments that make people. Well, I guess it's really marketing to let people know that you are in Lake County.
Yeah.
In other words, the bottom line is how do you market your coalition?
So obviously the scholarship is one of our major things, and aside from scholarship, we have a lot of community involvement. And community, we do a lot of forums, nonpartisan political forums, where we give candidates at election times an opportunity to talk about their platforms. And again, it's nonpartisan. So we do have some ground rules that they have to follow before they get on the stage and talk about their platforms. But we've worked with the NAACP. The NAACP and the Latino Coalition, go hand in hand. We love to work with them, and so every time they want to have a candidates forum and they approach us about it, we to me, it's a major accomplishment to have their partnership and to have them on board when it comes to these kind of issues. To partner with them to conduct candidates forums together, alongside Most Blessed Trinity and alongside other organizations, to hear those who will be making decisions on behalf of the government and on behalf of Congress and Senate, state representatives, to hear their platforms. I think it's a major accomplishment for us to be able to have those forums and to be able to partner with the NAACP. So we've done that. In the past, we've met with the city of Waukegan, with the Waukegan Police Department, the NAACP, and others in regards to community policing issues. An agreement was signed, and it was in the newspapers, and it was a very positive note under previous Mayor Wayne Motley, and so that was something that we're very proud about. We've donated thousands of dollars to students across the county in regards to scholarships. There's just so many things that the Latino Coalition have done. We've done, alongside the University Center in the past, FAFSA campaign and FAFSA workshops for students to understand how to fill out FAFSA, for FAFSA applications for student aid, to be able to get aid to go on to college. And so there's so many things, and they can, people can visit our website to be able to see a list of our accomplishments there. There's just a whole slew of them, of all of the things that we have done.
The NAACP at one time was very active in civil rights. I guess they're still interested in civil rights issues. But as far as the brown community is concerned, do you have many problems with people reporting civil rights have been discriminated against?
Well, I think one of the issues, discrimination is an ongoing thing.
Right.
That's something that can't be denied. That's something that can't be hidden.
Okay.
So we have Prairie State Legal Services on board when it comes to housing and discrimination due to legal status. Prairie State Legal Services is always there to help us out. So that's our referral source for that. When it comes to any kind of discrimination issues, we always look to our partners, our members, to see how they can help our families. And that's how we address those issues. So we, for example, Most Blessed Trinity, Clean Power Lake County, and Puro Football are going to have a rally this week, and they invited the Latino Coalition to be a part of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals rally, and they're going to have students speak on how this decision of taking away the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals benefit has impacted their lives, has impacted their comfort zone in terms of being in terms of being in this country, and the Latino Coalition accepted to be a partner in this issue. And so these are all things that I feel that we're helping youth and the community have a voice in.
You mentioned about the Graph Center. I think that's on Lincoln Avenue, I believe, the Graph Center.
Yeah, it was at 510 10th Street. I think they were looking to move. I'm not sure if they have a new location as of yet.
But their primary purpose is that the legal assistance too?
They did have some resources for legal assistance, and they help people with citizenship classes.
Yeah.
So they're helping people obtain citizenship at one point through civic engagement and helping them understand the Constitution of the United States so they could take the exam to be able to become U.S. citizens. They did ESL and ELL classes for them, reading and writing classes for individuals who did not know how to read and write, Zumba classes, nutritional classes, you name it. They did a ton. They had to cut back to the budget constraints of the state of Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So they cut back on a lot of services. But they continue to strive, and they continue to thrive. So so they're still there.
There's a lot of organizations
that have been impacted.
Impacted by, say, maybe, hopefully they'll get together, and that's when the volunteers are so important, I guess,
Yes.
too, you know.
Yes.
Tell us about the DREAM Act, your position on it, some comments about it.
Well, you know, the DREAM Act obviously is very important. Children are our future.
Yeah.
Regardless of color. We have to give them an opportunity to exercise their goals. They're part of our economy here in the United States.
Okay.
We really, I think as leaders, need to understand about how to help and talk to our legislators about the benefits of these potential laws that could be enacted for the benefit of our country. I am in support of the DREAM Act.
You mentioned another, the Trust Act. You know, you mentioned about that. You know, unity is involved.
Yeah. So, you know, the Trust Act was something that was signed into law by Governor Bruce Rauner recently.
Okay.
And it's, in a nutshell, it's something that brings law enforcement and the community together. And it's something that I think a lot of Latinos are very proud of because we want to see law enforcement and we want to see the community trust law enforcement and law enforcement trust the community. And so I think it's a good thing it's a good situation when we have, one, that line of respect, two, the fear go away. That's the whole thing behind this is people shouldn't have fear. Law enforcement shouldn't be fearful of community shouldn't be fearful of law enforcement. And so, you know, I think, you know, it's a very good outcome that this was signed into law here in the state of Illinois. And, you know, I think it's a positive step moving forward in terms of law enforcement in the community.
Well, let's, we're going to use you as a marketing person. Now we told our listening audience that you are a person that they should know And they
Thank
have
you.
found out from the past few moments here that you are a person that Lake County should know.
Thank you.
But what about tell us last picture about the coalition. Why should a person be a member of the coalition?
A person should be a member of the coalition. One, because we are absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Two, because we are helping youth succeed. We're empowering them, we're teaching them leadership skills, and we're giving a voice to the voiceless. I feel that education is the key to success. And if we fail to give a child that opportunity as leaders, then we're failing ourselves.
Now, do you go around to the community giving lectures, other groups, and talking about the coalition?
We do. Yes, we do. So if anyone is interested in us presenting or any of our board members presenting on the Latino Coalition, please feel free to email us at clulcorg@gmail.com or through our website, clulc.org.
Now again, where do you meet?
We meet at the Waukegan Public Library at noon every second Thursday of the month.
Okay. And there's a lunch, and
There is a lunch.
it's a minimum fee.
It's a minimum fee. You don't have to. It's a suggested donation, so you don't have to bring the $7. But it is, it's a suggested donation of $7, and it's pretty good food.
Right. And we mentioned that the strong relationship of family in Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about the importance of family there in Mexico.
My boyfriend and I always joke because we have not had rest since the summer began. Our family just pulls us on both sides. We both have a huge family on both sides. And our family, and I'm happy to say that our family pulls us in all different directions, because if one side's not having a party, the other side is having a party. So we bicker and we argue like any other family, but I think as Latinos, we're very knit tight. And at the end of the day, no matter what the circumstances are, we come together and we're there for one another. Family is very important to us. It's what keeps us together. It's what makes us. It's what builds us, and it's what constructs us. And although, like I said, there may be situations that may separate us at times, at the end of the day, we look beyond that, we look past that, and we're humble enough to give us the last bread, to give each other the last bread, and share it amongst one another if that's what we have to do.
Very important.
Very important.
Well, a big event is it September and October of Mexican?
So Mexican independence is happening, and it's actually our Central American countries as well. We are having our celebration this weekend in Waukegan, September 17th and 18th, I believe, of this weekend, downtown Waukegan. It's starting at Abbott Middle School and terminating at City Hall. So come out to celebrate. Contact the City of Waukegan if you have any questions.
And let's see, if we mention about attractions that people may want to go to Mexico to see, and you mentioned that I know you probably not. I may not ask you to market in Mexico, but tell about the attractions there and some of the resources that they have in Mexico.
Well, we have my favorite spot was Cabo San Lucas. I think that was a beautiful spot to go to. But we also, like I said before, we have so many. We have, if you don't like the beach, we have our capital, which is Mexico City, or we have Puerto Vallarta, we have Cancun, the Yucatan Peninsula. If you want history, you have Puebla, you have Oaxaca, you have Monterrey. If you want more of an Americanized city feel, you have Monterrey. If you have a ton of history there in southern Mexico in terms of a more older kind of feel down there. If you want jungle, you have it all in Mexico. but there's a ton to do down there. So I suggest that you do the, feel free to do the research. There's so much to do down there, and don't miss the opportunity.
Well, what about the State's Attorney's Office there? Are there opportunities for individuals or groups to visit there to have tours of the office?
So for youth, we have a program. It's Knowledge is Power, and I run that program. We have schools that could come through, or a group of students that could come through and get a feel for what the State's Attorney's Office is and the criminal justice system as a whole, and they can reach out to us for that. And we also do conduct tours for an individual who just is curious to see what the State's Attorney's Office, the court system is about. We can work with someone if they're interested. We definitely do have those opportunities available.
This is fantastic. In other words, they'll find out that the State's Attorney's Office he's a prosecuting attorney, but he's not interested in just putting everybody in jail.
He's not. He's the most friendly person you'll ever meet.
Hey, this is fantastic.
Right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been very fortunate to have with us a very garrulous person, Ms. Cynthia Vargas, and she's the communications manager for the Lake County State's Attorney's Office here in, physically located in WAUKEGAN, Illinois, but here in Lake County. As a matter of fact, it's one of the largest counties in the state of Illinois.
I believe it's the third largest county.
Oh, the third largest. Okay, the third largest.
Cook, DuPage, and then us.
Okay. This is fantastic. And if you ever want to visit the State's Attorney's Office, just call. I have a number here, but you may want to give a number.
847-377-3188.
Okay. And there we can probably reach you.
Yes.
And you, the communication manager, so you can set up a time and
Sure can.
for groups to come in. This is fantastic. And I want very much to have, I think the State's Attorney was here last week, and his show will air just before yours, and to show that we do have a capable, friendly office there at the State's Attorney's Office. And even though we have expansion of our court system, it's not his fault.
Nope.
It's not your fault.
Nope.
That is expansion. You're only doing your job. Not everybody is going to abide by the law. And those that violate the law, they have to be prosecuted. And you're on friendly terms with the public defender's office, right? I mean, you're not enemies there.
Well, obviously we have to work together.
Okay.
And so, we can't be antagonists.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it again. And ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Ms. Cynthia Vargas, Communications Manager for the Lake County State's Attorney's Office, and we hope that you have enjoyed viewing the program. This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.